अरे सुन ना आर्टिकल नाम नहीं होता तो उसको पता नहीं चलेगा हाँ then it's not a problem नाम आपकी देना नहीं पता नहीं बात हाँ सर को बोले मतलब everything is very useful. I still have yes, sir.
इधर आ करते जाना मैं बोल गाड़ी से कह रहा हूँ और आगे की अच्छा Oi. We are also ऐसा नहीं ये भी एलिजिबल है क्या मैनेजमेंट के
one and all present here. I would like to invite today's panel, Dr. Arvind Sharma sir, who will be our moderator. Ms. Namita Tiwari, Marketing Director of Wipro Full-Strike, Mr. Alekhya Chakrabarty, Vice President of Marketing and Growth of Unsure.com. Everyone, and a very warm welcome to Vivaan 9.0, the flagship annual business summit of IIFT Kolkata. Theme: Reshaping Economies by Sustainable Digital Transformation. Vivaan is hosting a series of panel discussions, summits, and competitions around the impact of sustainability in the business world in the light of rapid climate change in this new era of innovation and evolving economies around the world. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the Market Summit of Vivaan 9.0, organized by the Market Society of IIFT Kolkata, with the theme of this year being Charting Sustainable Pathways, Marketing in the Digital Economy. In its rapidly evolving digital landscape, charting sustainable pathways for marketing is imperative. Marketing plays a pivotal role in shaping the business world around us. But with great power comes great responsibility. We are navigating a new era where responsible marketing practices meet the digital economy's vast potential. It's about safeguarding data privacy, embracing ethical marketing, and optimizing digital infrastructure for a sustainable step forward in the marketing world. With our esteemed guests for today's panel discussion, I'm sure it would be a wonderful session and our students would take away a wide knowledge about our topic and the importance of the same as future leaders for the corporate world. Without further ado, I would like to introduce the moderator for today's panel discussion, Dr. Rajendra Prasad Sir. Sir is a highly accomplished professional with over 2 decades of experience in marketing and has been associated with IIFT for over 15 years. He specializes in several areas, including international marketing, sales, management, and services marketing. Alongside his academic role, Dr. Sharma is deeply involved in mentoring and coaching exporters and sales professionals, helping to succeed in both local and domestic markets. His influence extends beyond the academia and he serves as a keynote speaker, corporate trainer, and author. He has contributions to both the academic and corporate worlds, serving as an advisory board member for businesses and conducting prolific research. His research work has appeared in academic journals covering topics such as consumer perception and ethics in online retailing. Sure, his vast knowledge about his field would help us gain insight and write today's discussion on sustainable marketing on a very insightful manner. I would like to now invite Chair to introduce our speaker for the day. Tiwari. We are honored to introduce Ms. Namita Tiwari, a visionary and well-renowned marketing leader who has consistently stood at the forefront of strategic marketing programs, initiatives for some of the world's top technology players. With extensive global experience spanning brand, digital, content, campaigns, and communications, she has been a driving force in customer engagement and market outreach, significantly contributing to the growth of the technology industry. In her role as the marketing director of Wipro Full Strike Cloud, she leverages over 20 years of invaluable experience to achieve scale and new frontiers through high-impact marketing programs. In addition to being an accomplished professional, Ms. Tiwari is also a TEDx speaker and an unstoppable voice in marketing, change, and women empowerment. She has leased numerous industry and academic events, sharing her knowledge and leveraging her leadership and influencer capabilities to bring about positive change in the world. Her strong industry presence is a testament to her unwavering commitment to making a difference. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Ms. Namita Tiwari. Send a warm welcome to Mr. Alekhya Chakrabarty, a remarkable marketing professional currently serving as the Vice President of Marketing and Growth at Unstop, where he leads the growth and marketing function, shapes the brand strategy, manages P&L, and oversees media planning across various channels. With over 15 years of industry experience, Mr. Chakrabarty possesses impressive track record. He has successfully built and managed renowned brands such as Dove, Nestle A+, Women, and Boro Plus, earning multiple accolades for his innovative and effective campaigns. Mr. Chakrabarty's commitment to excellence extends to his continuous learning journey. He has acquired certifications in digital marketing, sports business, and generative AI from prestigious institutions, further enhancing his strategic capabilities. His extensive experience and dedication to marketing make him a true luminary in the field. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Alekhya Chakrabarty. Pleased to welcome Mr. Bimalendu Tarafdar, a distinguished marketing leader who currently serves as the Vice President of Marketing at Weikfield Foods. In his role, he leads the brand and category rejuvenation efforts of this iconic food company, focusing on enhancing the brand's physical and mental availability, identifying new growth opportunities, and launching innovative products. With over 2 decades of experience, Mr. Tarafdar has a proven track record of driving growth, brand rejuvenation with organizations such as Ferrero India, Holidays, Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail, and more. He is an expert in diverse B2C industries with expertise in strategy, innovation, branding, digital, and consumer insights. Mr. Tarafdar is passionate about creating value for customers, the company, and the society. He's known for his ability to navigate unstructured, matrixed, and rapidly changing environments, and he brings a wealth of experience to his role at Wakefield Foods. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Bimalendu Tarafdar, a seasoned marketing professional with a wealth of experience. I request Aarti Sharma sir to take this discussion forward. Thank you.
Thank you. A very good afternoon, friends. This is the last session of the day, right? Editing is everything. But so I'm indeed glad for the illustrious co-panelists with me today, deliberating on this important theme that wanted us to talk about. Okay, and since I taught you the basic marketing course, we will hear more from the practitioners, their perspective of how they are practicing marketing and how the ways are sustainable and digital is incorporated. So that's what, friends. But setting the tone for the session, we all know that most of the problems, marketing otherwise is supposed to be curative. Curative in the sense that they need to have their antenna high to capture the problems in the world and then provide solutions and in the process as a byproduct also make profit. Nothing wrong with profit. Yeah. But of late, it's being realized that we are not doing enough for the planet or not leaving the resources for the future generations. Or rather, we are consuming much more than what we are supposed to. So therefore, this consciousness is slowly dawning. And pandemic was an appropriate period for people to think and get mindful. Then we realized that, oh, my needs are so minimal. But I was probably greedy, something like that. So that paves the way for holistic marketing. Corporates also need to pursue that. And sustainability. While you create value, you communicate value, you deliver value, all facets of marketing, how can you be sustainable? So sustainability is also now part of the curricula, but marketers misunderstand a lot about sustainability. Marketing has been a malpractice. What is the malpractice? The malpractice is that because of the packaging, distribution, supply chains, the way promotions and advertising is done, the way consumers get induced, seduced to buy things which they otherwise don't require. So, a lot goes, marketing must also take the blame for that. And marketing is which was supposed to change the world now is feeling the heat that it's time that marketing becomes sustainable, the world becomes sustainable, and digital is already in. So first of all, I'm glad that we have these illustrious panelists, Namita, and Bimalendu, and Alekhya, from diverse companies, services, B2B, B2C, food, education, IT, and whatnot, futuristic cloud, software as a service, SaaS platform, everything as a service. So we have a diverse group of people, products, services, B2C, B2B, and all types of stakeholders and consumers. They are being catered by them, and I'm glad that they will touch upon the interesting aspects, and I can promise you that this session is going to be pretty enlightening and a learning experience for all of us, including myself. Yeah. So taking this further, I would remind of Bain and companies' research about elements of value. That in marketing, all marketing companies they provide some elements of value. For example, convenience is a value, and quick service is also value, quick commerce and things like that. But this value, which sustainability has to look at, is going beyond the functional value and the emotional value. Yeah, it's going beyond even the life-changing value. So there are certain products and services which are life-changing. It could be the vaccine or it could be Shadi.com. Right? But there are also certain products and services which sell only hope or radiate social impact, purpose. So in sustainability, we are supposed to look at not just the green part of the environment, but also justice, fairness, equality, inclusiveness, and that a lot of inequalities do exist today. Human rights and all, marketing has also created a digital divide. Marketing is also responsible for inequalities of income. Marketing is also responsible for lack of inclusiveness in the society. But we have read about and we have people like Alekhya who worked with projects like now the self-esteem and those kinds of things. And we discussed that in the class. So those kind of things will also get discussed today. So friends, then most of the brands to connect with people, they have brand communities. Yeah. But sustainability requires that there are communities of purpose-centric communities in today's world. Okay, and how marketers have been closing, the loop that the environment that or the imbalance that they created, how can they, close that? Are marketers changing the wrong rabbit? Wrong rabbit in the sense that only profits or consumers or market share or deeper penetration or this or that. So with all this talk of sustainability and digitalization, isn't that now the priorities have to be reset, or is this sustainability justified, and is this just greenwashing? All these things we will discuss. So I welcome each one of you, Namita, Alekhya, Bimalendu, for being here today, and I compliment the marketing clubs, the Brandwagon and Markinos for including sustainability and digital part as part of the theme today. Okay, the theme for the entire this summit. So thank you so much, and welcome once again. Let's have the discussion on. Yeah. So you can tell me who do I start with? Uh, Ladies first. Okay. So Namita, I come to you, and I would want you to quickly talk about if there are some sustainability startups today in India. Which are the top startups, right? And how are they navigating the balance between the profit and the planet?
Thank you very much. Am I audible? Okay. I would just give you a small background on sustainability. Sustainability has become imperative. It's enough that Professor has spoken about, but do you guys know that there is a list of 17 SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals by United Nations? If you don't know, please go and see that, because it changes from, not just this green planet and not just Earth. It changes from, diversity and inclusion. It ranges from living empowerment, everything. There are 17 SDG goals, and I think all students should be knowing that. And from that, sustainability is imperative for every business, and hence it then becomes imperative for marketing. Okay, and it's very honest setting of the context that stands right now, talking about marketing and sustainability. It's not just marketing. Businesses, it's imperative for businesses and brands to be sustainable. So to talk some of the startups, sustainability startups that have done well. When I say done well, that they have achieved that balance of profit and purpose. In sustainability, when we talk about, we usually keep purpose before profit, but ultimately we are running businesses. So, there has to be a balance that has to be, stricken, and to achieve that. I'm not sure, but I would like to throw some names. How many of you know about Fool? Can you raise your hands? Yeah. What does Fool do? It takes all the temple waste, all the flower waste. We are all very religious people in India, and so we all offer those offerings in the temples, and it takes up all the waste of flowers, and it creates incense sticks and various other items. And it started off in 2017, but Fool has done extremely well. It's done really well, and one of the reasons why we can say that it has, achieved profit and purpose both is because I think the products have been very well. The idea was very innovative and sustainable. So I think when we talk about sustainability becoming a success, sustainability achieving a balance of profit and purpose, innovative ideas, implementing them in the best manner possible, and actually achieving that, that goal of profit balancing purpose, or achieving that SDG goal, one of the SDG goals that is being laid out for us globally. There is another, so Food has done really well, and please do read more about Food. It picks up landfill waste and recycles them into very interesting puja items, incense sticks, and many more usable, parts that things that people use. It's a startup. It also started in 2017, and it is a big success. Yulu. How many of you know about Yulu? Yeah, people from Bangalore and Bombay may have seen Yulu also, right? And so Yulu is electric bikes, and there are charging stations. I think I was in Bangalore and I was zapped by the frequency of Yulu bikes I saw. I literally had to find out more about it, and I luckily had the chance to meet the founder, one of the founders. But Yulu is a great success, and it's again, imagine the feel it gives to a person who is a Swiggy delivery boy or a Zomato delivery boy, or he's spending so much on petrol or on maintaining a home. There's so much of um, a facility that's there for them to pick up an electric bike and recharge it and use it, and it's easy on their pockets, and hence makes their life much easier. So I think Yulu is another startup that all of you should be talking about, should be aware about. And then many other, good work that's being done by the startup community. I think this should give you a good idea. And now I should, if it's okay, I can talk about the bigger brands also that they're doing, what they are doing. And I would like all of these marketing students to know about what Patagonia is doing for years. Okay, not just now when the sustainability has become an imperative trend that we are having a discussion on marketing summit of it, but for years. So Patagonia has been doing a lot of good work on tackling the sustainability mindset 10 years ago, or maybe even 12 years ago. They had a campaign where they actually made their consumers question, do you really want to buy this t-shirt? Is this mindless consumerism that you're doing, or do you really need it? And if you go to the website or you see their annual reports, please do that, because they actually call out Earth as their main stakeholder. Okay, so which means there's a huge focus on sustainability, a huge focus on how important it is to be sustainable. And bigger brands, one of the other bigger brands I want to talk about is Adidas. So Adidas has created with Parley for the ocean. They have created a range of plastic shoes. And this is again 10 years ago. This is not something that I'm talking recent. It's been an ongoing thing. So please read about it, know more about it. Some brands have done really good work. Even the well-known brands have done really good work on sustainability. And it's very important that you keep finding out about these things. And yes, there will be those those areas or the gray areas of greenwashing that I think I would urge my other panel members to throw more light about. But there are there are all kinds of initiatives around brands and how they leverage sustainability. And I think this information I have shared with you has given you enough idea about how startups and the already established brands are going about sustainability. So with this, I'd like to invite my other panel members to light.
Thank you, Namita. So let me go to my rights. To you, the question is that with your vast experience in travel business, manufacturing, holidays, vacations, and fashion, and Madura, values, and those kind of brands, could you quickly share with us that I think across different businesses, how sustainability and digital initiatives have been creating value for the market? Okay. Thank you for having me here. First of all, it is also to talk to you guys. It's great to interact with young minds. It's as much as I learn from you guys, more than perhaps more than what I'm going to share. See, we were having very interesting conversation in the conference room or the topic. And my perspective on this is that it's not the sustainability, it's not been there as a topic. It was there. Companies have been using it or has been on that path. But maybe over last one decade, as Namita corrected me, and particularly over the last few years, as Professor was saying, it has become a hot topic. And as the Professor was saying, marketing is taking a lot of flack because what's our job? To influence consumer mind, right? So we influence consumer mind to buy our products. We put that as in the quote unquote creating value. We try to create the value for the consumer and try to create the value for the company, make profit. But yes, sometimes profit motive becomes far bigger. Because the profit motive becomes bigger, of course, the companies have started coming under fire. what are you doing? Are you consuming more than what you are really giving back? So responsible corporate citizen and such terms have started coming in. There are ESG funds who invest on companies who are ESG compliant. So I'm sure you guys will know. There are funds who pulled out their investment from ITC because ITC sells tobacco. So there are a lot of such incidences. Now, predominantly over the last 2 decades, what I have seen, having worked with, as what you were saying, multiple companies, I think fashion as an industry has been in the forefront of sustainability. And Namita spoke about Patagonia. So there are about a decade and a half back, uh, fashion companies started realizing the two issues. One is the consumption of water and the natural resources that was being consumed. And if you know the companies like Zara, which propagates fast fashion, they started becoming very, very popular about 1.5 years back. And what is fast fashion? It's like 10 minutes quick delivery, right? Every 2 months you change your clothes. So what happens when you change your clothes? What happens to your old clothes? They remain on the what? They go to landfill. Now, to produce with each garment, there's so much of resource consumption, right? So, therefore, the companies started getting conscious about it. But fundamental driver was not so much about the giving back to the art, but fundamental driver was still the profit motive. Because as you consume resources, the resource becomes expensive. So your cost goes up. So the companies realized that, then they started looking into it. The second driver for it was the kind of places, the kind of in conditions under which the fabric and the basic garments gets manufactured. I'm sure you know about the predominant part of garment manufacturing happens in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and the kind and Southeast Asia. A lot of shoes gets manufactured in Southeast Asia, China, and the labor conditions. So all of these practices started coming under a lot of flack, and because of which the company started getting a lot more conscious. The second, if you look at automobile, the automobile is a highly energy intensive industry, right? Consumes a lot of energy. They not only consume a lot of energy in the manufacturing, they also consume a lot of your traditional source of energy, whether it be conventional source of energy, whether it be petrol, diesel, which they consume, and that has a negative repercussions not only in the resource but also in the environmental impact. So automobile companies have been under a lot of pressure. Yeah. If you look at food, packaging, we were discussing the impact of packaging. If you look at the chips packet, a 20 gram, 35 gram chips, maybe hardly 20, 30 pieces, but your packaging would be such a big, and those are plastics. Again, takes a lot of time. Sometimes it does not decompose. Recycling facilities in our country is not that established. So therefore, it goes to the landfill, remains there. A lot of consumption of resources. So every aspect of the businesses, if you look at, companies have been under a lot of pressure. Predominantly, as I was saying, started with optimization of the cost, and then the companies realized that there is a good business merit in it. And hence, companies have started taking a lot of effort. Of course, in India, if you look at automobile as an industry moving towards EV, is it a sustainable? It was driven by the sustainability objective or driven by the emergence of electric vehicle and where the technology forefront is debated. But yes, we know that EV does help like save a lot of energy, while it also has some other implications. In terms of the fashion, as we are saying, I don't know how many of you know, Apart from Patagonia that Namrata spoke about, Levi's launched a jeans called Canvas jeans, right? There's a company based out of eastern part of the country called Tartan, right? So there are a lot of companies, there's small efforts that are being taken and across the value chain. So many of the food manufacturing companies nowadays have started uh, talking about carbon neutrality. I'm sure you guys have seen the latest commercial of iPhone, Apple, right? Mother Nature. So we can keep that aside, all the debates are around it. But yes, the conversations have started coming in, not only in the outside country, but in India, there are a lot of companies who are doing a very good job, taking a lot of initiatives. There's enough and more names. For example, if we talk about one of the sustainability initiatives, could be even transparency. Do you know what you eat? So there's a brand called True Elements who provides a QR code at the back of their pack. And if you scan the QR code, it takes you to the entire the farm to the how did that where did the grain come from? How did it get manufactured? The entire journey. So these are more giving more transparency to the consumer, uh, giving you the choice to choose what you want to buy. But these are still not mainstream. It will only become mainstream when bigger brands, bigger companies who have millions of dollars of marketing budgets, they invest not only the influencing the consumer mind to buy their product, but they also influence the consumer mind to choose what is the right thing for them. Because if the, for example, from the packaging example that I was giving, if as a consumer we decide that I will buy the smaller packs because the bigger pack with a small quantity means a lot of wastage, then why would companies would make it? If there's a perfect business sense, I can reduce my packaging cost dramatically. I can reduce my logistics cost dramatically. But the consumer chooses, as a consumer, we when we go to the shop, we choose something that is, looks bigger because we believe there might be more quantity. Right? So once those movements starts, company starts investing, and that was one of the points that we were discussing in the no, that we only use sustainability as a marketing gimmick, Mother Earth, or do we really invest those monies in educating the consumer to choose right? I think there's a lot of work still to be done as a marketing community, and somewhere, someday it needs to start. Thank you, Bimalendu. That's wonderful, enlightening. So going to Alekhya now from Unstock. Yeah. The question is, how do you differentiate your offerings in a saturated digital platforms market? Because author of positioning, Jack Trout, somewhere said that differentiate or die. Just as Gandhiji said, do or die. So, one is how do you differentiate that? Especially when you practice digital marketing, how sustainable is that?
Firstly, sir, thank you so much for not asking me a question on sustainability because I was sipping water from this plastic bottle. I showed around from like the last night and I think of flight again, in the ozone layer, review of weakness. So it felt a little bit innovative, right? So this is easier than most to great examples, but once I feel something, I'll justify something like that. So or differentiate or label and stop, right? So yeah, I think it's simple. So it's giving value to the consumer in a way that is currently not available. That's the tool, like sort of taking a basic marketing class. and has been the truth since the times of platform even now. Same was the case for Nonstop, which initially started. They had to compete, as most of you know, right? So Ankit Agarwal, who happened to be my batchmate from IIT Hyderabad, started this club from the rooms of his hostel dormitory in my IIT Hyderabad. And the gap that he saw was there were some competitions out there for students much like you. मेरा कविता कविता सारे नहीं होते दो तीन होते थे उसका कोई एक सिंगल एग्रीगेटर नहीं था. So he just started as a blog of aggregation of that. That was value because students didn't have to go here and there on internet. They found it back in 2009-10 when they started as a blog. There was great for the student. And slowly each of those institutions started joining. There are more opportunities coming from the top side, organically from the left side. That's the value, right? So that's a penetration, right? So glad to see, like when I was selling some big well-known soap brands, I didn't see more than 20 or 13% penetration. This is 13%. So good to see. And the more these schools I go to engineering colleges, it's always good to see the market as well, right? So yes, we're getting some penetration. Yeah, correct. So I think that's the value, sir. I mean, I don't know. That's the simple answer. I don't know. Differentiation. So I think, yes, so I mean, do you get as much of information from anyone else on any other website, right? So since we are there, we became a aggregator before others. We have started adding features before others. Like now you can get mentored there. For example, I'll give you a live example. One of your competition schools from Eastern part of XLI, two students from there moved a mentorship session on stop on a mentorship section with me 2 weeks back because they were in the process of trying to crack ITC the intro back, which I think was like a few weeks back. You would know, right? Why? Because they figured out that this guy who was from marketing, who was from FMCG, who was from ITC, and let's use this platform to book 30 minutes of time with him, and let's have a better chance than our competitors in a school and otherwise to crack the competition. This great value. It's a differentiation. You won't get it anywhere, right? Funny thing, like when we launched mentorship as a like platform feature, we didn't know this use case. That's the beauty of it, right? In a community-led brand, because you give rise to features and benefits to users because they figure out a way to use the platform in new ways, right? जो शायद एक मतलब एक प्रोडक्ट को एक ही ऑपरेट as one part, ऑपरेट as one part of it. Before, okay? So metal does like we were discussing here, etc. So हम सभी करते हैं, right? So it's I think Ankit told this proudly on the Shark Tank episode that it's a full stack platform, and we stand by it. It's a full stack platform. Right? All of you have like adopted the platform, and I see no reason why you should use the platform in the next 10 years. Looking at the kind of features that we have in the pipeline, we've just launched a subscription stock. You've seen it. It's coming at a price which anyway, I don't want to turn this platform, but yeah.
So a follow-up question on this, quick question is that for the students community, the value is understood. Most of them are your target market and already your market. But Henry Weisberg, he always said that industry is not looking for MBAs or qualification per se, but industry is looking for managers or certain competencies. So how does Unstop help or create a value proposition for the employers in terms of making the right kind of talent available to them?
So and thank you for using that word right, because the pitch to our employers, the employers who give us money to invest those things is get the right talent from our platform. Right? And how do we define the right talent? It's not based on the degree, like you correctly said, in skills, right? Skills. So in our line of business, the currency is skill assessment. We do ensure that there's a platform with which the potential employers can assess each one of you and figure out where you sort of stand either on horizontal or vertical in terms of having a certain set of skill sets and a certain degree. And then you're mapped to a potential match in whichever opportunity that they have, right? So exactly what does that tagline say? So where talent unstop where talent meets opportunities. So that's how we ensure that the talent meets opportunities. We're doing that skill mapping, right? So like for example, potentially a product manager, a person from IIFT would probably have interest in being a great product manager, right? So if you have a file on Unstop, probably you will have a tag which is a skill which is product manager. So we will ensure that you get badges of having mentors who are great product manager and it's like Right? For example, the mentorship section, or let's say on the competition section, you have connection opportunities which help you compete with the others, right? Who are your peer group or otherwise, which are product benefits. Right? Or let's say learn maybe you're posting something in the post section, etc. etc. So we ensure that this playground is there for the students to hone those skills on like because yeah, animation services and actually yeah, they get mapped with the
Thank you. Thank you. So let me move to Namita once again. Namita, since we are as an institute of international business education excellence, globally, uh, how the big players, large companies, they are setting it as a priority, sustainability and digitalization today, and to what extent they have been able to accomplish the drive towards sustainability.
The top technology players. They are following most of the sustainability guidelines, whether it's circular economy, carbon neutrality, or any other aspect of sustainability, including diversity and inclusion, including women empowerment. I think most of the technology companies today are doing it, and it's very evident. It's all right up there in their annual reports. So there is a lot of focus in this area. However, I would like to say a few more things here. Like, okay, when we talk about marketing, we do take the onus of educating consumers, and we take the onus of, oh no, we have to do this. But I think we should take a step back. Sustainability is everybody's responsibility, and including the consumers. There are studies and researchers that the youth of today, the millennials and the Gen Zs, are far more awakened. There's a term called awakened consumers. They think about sustainability. They think about buying sustainable products. It's there on their mind when they are buying something, whether this is connected to a purpose or not. So there is change in every aspect: business, consumers, marketing, of course. So I think there is sustainability is everybody's responsibility. However, there are companies and brands taking a lead on that, and it is very high on their agenda. We all know that, especially with the United Nations and the global organizations calling it out as clear goals. There are companies which have taken out that they will attain all these 17 SDG goals by 2025. It's a clear goal. They have mentioned it on their website. So that's the kind of focus sustainability is enjoying. However, I also very small example of plastics. So we spoke about plastics, right? Plastics is something for years we've been saying, brown bags, no plastics, this, that, and there are various kinds of plastics. So there are some plastics which are actually recyclable, and there are companies which give you the option that hey, you can throw the plastic material here, and we will recycle it and we will reuse it. But how many consumers actually do that? They don't do it. So there is a recycling company willing to recycle. There's a brand which is mentioning it, hey, you do it this way and it will be taken care of. But how many consumers are actually doing that? So again, sustainability is everyone's responsibility. And which is of course very high on most of the players and companies. Yeah.
But also tell us the cloud infrastructure that you are marketing. How is that sustainable? More sustainable than comparing other storage devices. In the past, we had the floppies to CDs to pen drive to and
data centers, from moving from data centers to cloud. So there are sustainable ways around it. But I would not want to divulge more about it. I think I'm not authorized to do that.
But you should at least talk about one thing. You said women empowerment somewhere. So do you think that women-led businesses are likely to be more sustainable?
Women's empowerment and diversity, inclusion, and women equality is a part of the 17 sustainable goals that are there.
No, that's okay. But I'm putting a straight question that.
No, I so fair. I think men can be equally sustainable. I won't say that to you.
Yes. Yeah, this is going back to you. So, how does your company, Weikfield, strategically communicate its achievements, reducing the food wastage, and how do you reach the consciousness among the consumers? how do you ensure mindful consumption?
So I'll answer first question first, which is how we communicate to the consumers about our initiatives. We don't communicate to our consumers about initiatives or the tasks that we do. Because there are other challenges, and given the limited resources that we have, there are other choices that we make. But that does not mean that we do not take sustainability as a serious uh, assets of the business. Now, about 5 years back, when we sat together and defined what's the purpose of our business, uh, how many of you actually know about, let me ask you this question, know about Weikfield? Okay. And with the products that you know, of course, mass, baking powder, then custard powder, then jellies. So pasta powder, pasta, desserts, right? So desserts is sweet, right? Pasta is, for example, indulgence, right? So we are in the business of indulgence. Now, what does indulgence do? It's supposed to make you fat, perceived, right? Irrespective of the products that we sell, we can talk at rate like how our products are. So we coined a term. Okay, we called it conscious indulgence. What does that mean? And that define the kind of products that we will do, kind of categories that we will get into, and kind of categories we will not get. So when we define this conscious indulgence as one of our values, it meant that we will not get into product categories which are very high calorie, high on fat, high on sugar, high on salt. Okay. Now, we just spoke about custard, right? Custard is a dessert. Now, how do you make custard? Make it with milk. How do you eat custard? You eat it with fruits. Is custard a better dessert than any other dessert? It is. Right? Pasta. Pasta is made with what? Wheat. You make pasta with what? With veggies. And you make, usually in India, 80% of the pasta consumption is with a white sauce, which includes milk and cheese. So roti sabji. Pasta is nothing but roti sabji, Italian terms. So this conscious indulgence gave us a very tremendous clarity in terms of the products. So that we're getting. Second value that we define, we are 100% vegetarian company. And we put that's God. So we will not get into any non-vegetarian product. Now look at the repercussions of when we say 100% vegetarian. Now we use a lot of flavors, colors. Right? There is a color called converges. That color is extracted from ants. Right? So now, can I, if I have defined in my value as 100% vegetarian company, should I use that color? So we went on searching for alternatives. And this did not came overnight just because 5 years back we sat and we defined our purpose. This all came from the values on which the company was built. And we looked at the history. In 1984, prior to 1984, we used to sell jelly. Jelly used to use gelatin. I don't know how many of you know what gelatin where gelatin comes from. It comes from bones. Right? So it's a non-vegetarian. In 1984, the company decided So jelly used to be in those days about 10% of our revenue. Our founders figured that he did not know that jelly comes from gelatin, which is made from hogs. But the day he got to know, next day he said, I will not make jelly. 10% of the revenue contributing category overnight became zero. It took the company 4 years to find an alternative, which is today we use. So our company was the first one to launch 100% vegetarian jelly, where the setting agent is not a gelatin but a seaweed derived. I don't know how many of you know, we also into the business of fresh mushrooms. We serve only 3 cities in their country, Pune, Bangalore and Bombay. Okay. So this is one of our 37 different product lines that we sell. 90% of that, I'm sure you not know unless you visit our website. So fresh mushroom business consumes a lot of energy. And we have a land, so it also needs a land. So we decided to use solar energy, installed solar panels, and that energy is funding today. Now, how do we communicate? Given that I don't have huge amount of budgets to go out and shout at the rooftop, saying that these are my initiatives. What we do is that we incorporate this communication in our package. So this pack. Carbon footprint. So these are the small initiatives that we take. Okay, there's a food wastage you are talking about. So over the last 5 years, one of the initiatives that's being driven again is profit initiative, but it has a ramification. So wastage of packaging material and the raw material in manufacturing process is a cost. If I input 100 units, I don't get 100 units out. I get 95 units. So 5 units is wastage. Now, if I reduce that wastage, which means I improve the resource productivity, it is an actual economic benefit for us. My cost of production became lower, right? But it has the ramification. So how do we package it and communicate is a different story. I can package it saying that, oh, I am taking such a huge initiative to reduce packaging material consumption. And there is an initiative under Government of India where we have to report. Right? But in a very practical way, this actually driving towards the ESG initiatives actually helps the business to become more profitable. It is not actually a cost. If someone sits and really looks at the ramification, it makes a perfect business sense. So that's
excellent. So sustainability is also good business. Right?
Yeah, it's a very good business.
Yeah, but on the lighter notes, you said we don't communicate. But if you create value and if you don't communicate, then it would be like winking at somebody in the dark.
You know, how you building market what we are.
The point is when my consumers are okay. Let me answer. How many of you know that we also sell oats? Honestly, if you know, then only raise your hand. So my penetration is exactly opposite of his.
That should not stop you from telling your stories. I mean,
No, it's not. So therefore, we use our website to put these stories. Our owners have various initiatives. So all of those are on digital website. But again, I don't invest to drive the traffic to the website because it's not a B2C website. So economic sense does not allow me to do that with my limited monies. Okay. So limited monies, I communicate to make people like you aware of, then we also sell homes.
But these are very inspiring sustainability marketing stories.
Thank you so much. There are really interesting stories. This company is fascinating. Right?
Thank you. So, Alekhya, the question back to you is that at Unstop, do you use any specific tools or technologies which help you do your digital marketing more efficiently, more sustainably, better than others?
Much time do I have?
You have all the time.
Yeah, I have all,
Precise.
yes.
All the time is there.
I have been a sustainability lead in one leading events in the FMCG space, right? So one thing in theory, the other thing is practical, right? So I think being efficient and sustainable is a mindset, right? Much like any other mindset hacks, right? So and it's a popular word, right? So I think every day we think how can we like I think now in stories finalists that how can we do more with less, right? So our math controllers, these or otherwise are behind us, right? So I think in there in our business the he is implementing zero CAC digital marketing practices, like consumer acquisition cost. In there we figure out how do we deploy marketing initiatives which can give me more users, more traction, more stickiness, and eventually on the B2B side, more business with like asking less money is being spent. So we figure out new ways of, let's say, unlocking that on the community that we have. For example, I don't need any reason to go and advertise around this book. Right. So one way to engage it could be one way to keep my users engaged is to do something community. Right, which is why on Unstop currently you are seeing probably the world's cricket quiz festival where almost 20,000 people have registered. And every evening, I think in half an hour again, there is a but at least I think 6,000 people are participating, right? So these are using out like every day, and that's in of company. But to something like marketing automation, so we work with the best of CRM tools like web engagement, home engagement, word of software, to ensure that there is enough amount of cross selling and upselling of our products. For example, if take same example, I like to use same examples that if someone has shown some interest in participating in a product management hackathon, probably he or she will be more keen to talk to a mentor. Is a product itself. So how do I automate and ensure you guys get a lot of mails from Unstop, right? From us, it's me and my team, right? So we ensure that it's automated. And एक part लिख कर रख दो, so उसके बाद तो भेजूंगा ही, right? So I think that so all of this is through those underlying things. Some simplest thing value added as well. Yes, can we be more efficient? Even more so. And internally we have developed lots of tools. So we not just again that's a way that what can be built and what can be outsourced, right? So I think that's with coming from that thinking of being and we already say that we have a big team of hardly 15 people who has built this, platform which is now serving almost 7 million users, right? So, and second, I mean, we don't like to, for example, make the sales calls in person. So it's a four-member sales team that the company has. I'm not kidding, right? So and we have almost top line revenue of 3 million USD right now annually, right? So it's handled by 4 million people and sorry, 4 people, and that sales team completely talks virtually, large unless it's a face-to-face, which is a request for a meeting on the B2B side. So I think I wanted to give you a flavor of different everyday sustainable practices on the tech front and also from a company DNA perspective that we put it.
Do you have a something like designation like chief marketing technologist or something like that? Because digital marketing companies they need to have CIOs also, chief information officers, and technology partners, IT department helping that.
That is me. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, again, that's sustainability thinking. Why do we need a CIO? Why? Right? I mean, that's a question, right? So marketing by itself is to be digital. If anybody still lives in a world that ऐड बनाते टीवी में डालते हैं उससे बात भी मत करो वो सीनियर्स राइट सो it's 100% digital. What do you consume every day? On your Insta feeds, that's it. So that's digital. So and then equally, what is the thing that you consume? So it's tech infrastructure. So might as well in your marketing thinking, you should have a tech DNA. So there's no need for a CIO today. The marketing person has to be there. Equally, my designation has changed over the years in the last 4 years from marketing to growth. There's no other animal named a growth hacker. Like you will find this honey on LinkedIn saying I'm a growth ninja, growth hacker. Don't ever listen to it, right? Marketing by default is growth, right? All of us like growth. Like this, these two eminent analysts might not have growth as a term, but they do growth. They have been doing growth over the last decade, right? So what I'm trying to say, you can become everything, right? Marketing, growth, tech, something.
So, to what extent do you acknowledge that your market, the customer sitting here, they are also your marketing department?
I mean, each of them is like part of the 6.5 million, right? So each one of you is my no ambassador, so but one of them is Ritvik Kukreja, if I'm wrong, is one of your batchmates with a stock. I don't know if you're in the audience. She's a principal member.
Especially sales time कहता है कि क्या आपके दांतों में झंझनाहट होती है? Does he also do some inbound marketing with the targets?
Then वो अपने आप ही look better. There is no much. I did not kidding. So my first thing on the job, and because I come from FMCG much like him, I met 20 of usual ones like you, right? So I spoke with him, and they were like, "Sir, आप क्या करोगे आज stop? Marketing." So like marketing is जरूरत ही नहीं है आप. Well, we already have for the brand. You are doing such a great work. So I think that's what I'm saying. That already each of the users are, and this is a theme for a brand owner. They are like such strong ambassadors for the brand. Like I wish, I mean, I'm sure he wishes that each one of his custard makers say that I'm the best baker in the world, right? And potentially, they like to believe that they would all like to say that there is some bit of value with at least one session that I've had on this, right? Like I can say that it's not on the level, I've got still value on this, right? So that way is
Just one point that I would to add, I think what Alec has just touched on a very important point as a marketer. So how much marketing, which is communication, traditional sense of the way we understand marketing, how much communication is he doing and how much tech he is doing now? And that, my request to all of you is, you have to understand that today there is marketing actually is a perversive. It was earlier also, but particularly with digital, you have to understand technology. You have to be familiar, even if you are not from an IT background, you have to be familiar with terminology, you have to be familiar with the context. Because when you sit today, whether you are join an assistant brand manager, or whatever, with the shifts that are happening, it's just mind-boggling. So you eventually, if in his position, you will end up with more tech than really communication. Even in my role also, where I'm a offline, we are an offline heavy brand. But even in that case, there's a lot of, we have a CIO, but I have to work with the CIO to really kind of execute a lot of our.
sorry, one suggestion. I'm just building on what you see. Next time, I have one sustainable advice for Vivaan 9.0. Maybe you should have not three different summits: technology, marketing, and sustainability. Combine it into one. No, you should. Like imagine 1/3 the fleeting and 1/3 the operational assets for your second years, which now become first years will become second years. But in general, and always be led by users. In marketing, there is no truth, other bigger truth that how users change, you should also change, right? Like one of my first jobs, one of my finance guys who sent us most important salary slip end of the month. He sent this one single footnote with the salary slip that don't forget that the consumers make this happen. It was such a beautiful reminder. A very important reminder. कि पैसा जो आया account में वो consumer की वजह से. So not because of whoever the stakes was paying it. So I think equally always be led by users. The truth is like I use.
So, can I have the last question and then this will be open for question answer, okay? So this last question goes to you, Namita, because we started with you and you are a storyteller. As a storyteller, if a brand is sustainable, how storytelling can communicate that sustainability?
There are many ways. I think this is very important. Like My panel member was talking about, the various stories. I got very inspired in the storyteller, and we actually asked him that, we need to. I think there are various ways. One is that the brand itself creates some stories and push them out. What happened? Like there was a story that he mentioned about removing the non-vegetarian element. That was a very inspiring story. So that can be communicated A via the brand, B via the consumers. Some consumer testimonials. I think one of the reasons why Unstop is such a success is because you have advocates right there. They told me about Unstop when I was coming from the airport. It's so amazing.
Stop is unstoppable.
Yeah, so this is amazing. You have the advocates right there, and I think you also have an element of purpose, which is where you're not charging anything. There's no subscription attached to your services. So that can a good element of storytelling that can be done to your consumers, testimonials. I think employees can be good, storytellers. You can leverage employee storytelling for your communication for all the interesting stories that are there. I think these 3 ways are very interesting ways of storytelling. Can be done by any brand or business. And I would like to invite all the marketing students here. I do enjoy followership of 30,000 on LinkedIn. So please connect with me and follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. So I do share some articles on marketing, and you would know I am a technology marketer, so the technology part will always be there, right up and up on technology, very much. So marketing and technology, you will find interesting content. Please follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram. Thank you.
So questions, yeah. Just name the panelists you want your question to be addressed by.
Good evening, I'm Raghav Sharma from the batch of 25. It's an open question, it's not directed to anyone. So when we're talking about sustainability, there are 2 things that corporate or the companies are doing. First one is that they are incorporating the sustainability practices into their process. And the second thing is that they are launching sustainable products. But what's happening is when the company launches sustainable products, we see that the cost of that product is really high as compared to the other products that the company has. So what do you think can be done on that part from the corporate or the companies?
This is very good, thank you. I think one thing that you mentioned, you should use that to widen your perspective on sustainability concept. You did the 17 sustainable development so motivation. Problem is, as Itna, because our industry has spoken the most on this topic, the moment we think sustainability, we only think it's CPG, it's tangible products. No, there are other sustainable goals also, like creating opportunities, making it a more diverse and equal world. Right? So, let's say to 2025, when you join, right? Look at your brand's context and figure out what can be the purpose that my brand can serve to make this world a better place. And you will find out. You will find a way to serve the consumer better. You will find the way to serve the community a little better. You will find a way to serve the planet a little better as well, right? Problems of planet means a conversation about it. ये वाला भी भूलना नहीं चाहिए. To her point, absolutely Unstop's purpose is to serve this community better, right? And then to create that access of opportunities to the remotest corner of not just India but the globe. And the highest amount of growth that we are seeing is from tier 2, tier 3 towns, from states like Arunachal Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh now, one per month. It's not just premium schools like IIFT, etc. Right? So I think that thought you can bring in. It's not just about building products. Why building products? I think it's slightly like I'm using this word, won't take it otherwise. Myopic to say he's a product and I think they do a lot of things across the value chain. Like he was mentioning, to think about the category and the sourcing as well. Like I was handling dairy, and dairy may unknown practice when the cows actually are in the stable, they actually basically the part, right? And that's weekend, right? So that's very much polluting. So it's not known widely that dairy is one of the most polluting businesses of all the other businesses. And on the दूध सोचते कि कितना pure है and all of that. Think about it. We think it's only the plastic water bottles and all that, right? So how do I then still source milk and still give value to those beautiful communities and still be that's very limiting the soil, right? So I think थोड़ा सा widen करना चाहिए perspective by looking at because there's a beautiful problems to solve. And मेरा एक belief है like nobody wakes up on a Monday to come to office कि आज मैं बहुत खराब काम करूँगा इधर कोई सोने को तो आपने इतना अनसस्टेनेबल काम करूंगा कोई ऐसा धंधा नहीं कोई ऐसे धंधा नहीं इसको आप ऐसे काम नहीं करता सो थोड़ा सा वेरीफाई इसको कम करना चाहिए थैंक यू सो मच
I want to say something on this question. See, you spoke about the product becoming more expensive, right? So this can be a general case in some of the products. I have a couple of friends who are doing sustainability startups, and they tell me that yes, the process is such that the cost will be high, the product's cost will be high. So here I would just say that we are moving towards sustainability. We are moving towards the wisdom of choosing the right products, and also the purchasing power is also increasing. So there will be a balance. What who can afford what will be with what level. So it's something actually ways of, even like the people who are selling those products will find ways to kind of balance it out as well, because they are also doing it with the agenda of balancing purpose and profit. Okay, so there will be a middle path that can slowly evolve. But yes, I think your point is valid for many cases.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Kashif from the batch of 35. My question is, how can companies effectively prevent greenwashing in their marketing strategies, and what are the key evaluating factors that should be considered in order to ensure that their sustainable claims are genuine and transparent?
I want to just so yes, I mean greenwashing is a very popular phenomenon, and there are various activists just waiting to catch big brands on their greenwashing attempts. It's one of few things that brands and businesses can do is like when they decide on a product and communicating that it's a sustainable product, they have to be authentic. Okay, so most of these companies have ESG department. There are supposed to be people who should be looking into it. And any product that's being launched, especially if it's being launched as a sustainable product, has to have its all facts correct. And the bigger the brand, if I may say so, the bigger and the more established the brand, the more likely it is going to be attacked. Okay, so I think the startups and the newer companies are far more. It's kind of easier to escape that, or even if they do indulge into something like this. So a good authentic product plan which should be communicated also. So if I'm launching something sustainable, a big brand is launching, just like one of my panel members mentioned about a QR code that shows the ingredients, that kind of transparency. So transparency with the consumer, transparency within the leadership team. I think a good buy-in with the CEO and the CXO has to be there before you actually. It should not just be one marketing and product team joining hands. It has to be completely bought in by the CXOs of the company. So I think these few practices can escape. There are many interesting stories. I don't want to name the brands, but these your marketing students, you should have 5 examples of greenwashing on your tips. Please research, have them on your tips. Okay, I won't want to be naming any brands, but it's a very interesting topic. And anyone else wants to add?
See, it depends on where the idea comes from. So if the idea was being driven by the marketing folks, then greenwashing will happen. That's not. But if the ESG or the sustainability initiative is the top agenda of the company and it is being driven by the board of directors, then any product, any claim which focus around that has to be passed by the board. If it has not been passed by the board, then it's a board's failure, it's not a marketing. The only way you can stop it is by that. And for example, if you believe that Apple's ad was a greenwashing, then Tim Cook is responsible for it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Harshal Vasodia from the batch of 25. So, our regular marketing classes at IIFT consists of cases, not just discussing the cases, but enacting them. If we are learning advertisements, then we will not just talk about it, but watch and analyze these. So, this helps us in being spontaneous as a quality. So, my question is that as a marketer, what qualities like these should be inculcated from our life and the B schools?
या थोड़ा सा मेरा धंधे के साथ है, तो बोल रहा हूँ और एक right? I think a lot of data science, right? That's something like people invest in, like he started out careers, also was on last month. How क्या हुआ था? You know what? I will explain. Right? So you better be a good data handler as a market first. I'm intentionally saying data first because, like you said, in marketers, हम क्यों marketing choose करते हैं हमको ad. I think वो first वही होता है ना कि रियली पेड इन्फ्लुएंसर होना है all that, right? Influencer marketing करना है. दूसरा है कि आप अच्छे से स्टोरी टेलिंग का करना है, right? Like Namita is a great marketer because she's a great storyteller, right? So वो आपको सीखना है how to tell stories with data, how to piece things together. वो सबसे बता देंगे, right? I think that's something that we should get for. The third hack is, I think, obviously, working with people. It's easier said than done. So how many of you, for example, work in multiple groups while cracking cases, or do you stick to the same group of 5 because I know it's the first one. Don't fall in trap going hence, it's using that in India to crack the case, right? Because company में वही होगा. You will work with people who are very different from you. Something that we see. And either in marketing, nothing is done by one. I hate brand folks who say कि ये campaign मेरा है. नहीं है. तो brand बनाने के लिए वो 100 लोगों का काम होता है पीछे. Right? So वो सब मिलके करना होता है, right? And then lastly, I think you need to obviously be a good balance of logic and magic. You can just one part. सिर्फ data करके नहीं होगा. You should know how to create magic as well, which is why the brains flow the comes. I think only 3-4 skills I can say.
Any finance folks in this room or only marketing guys?
Marketing.
So this is marketing summit, so yeah, should have the finance folks in the room. Yeah, there are. All of them are studying finance or civil logistics everything.
Good evening, sir. I'm Arjun from class of 25. So nowadays, many consumer behavior analytics software are there in the market. For example, Netcore, Mixpan, Clever Tap are there, which basically monitors each and every step which you take on a website or an app. So what they do is they do this for primarily to enhance the impulse buys. So how can these software be used by these brands or companies to create a value of sustainability?
For example, you are a one-stop user. I do know from the package panel that what you have done if you have spent certain number of months, right? So I can give you more targeted value. And what I'm telling you, like in case we were interview with us in non-stop, one thing that I do during the interview is I check what is the activity of the project manager because it tells me what is the intent of the brand. It's a great advantage to interview someone who is leaned in on the brand and hasn't just seen the website just before the interview, right? अगर तुम brand से हो आप प्यार नहीं करते हो क्या ही काम करोगे इस brand के लिए, right? So this is I think this is very nice sustainable concept, right? जो क्या है, so ऐसे कहीं बहुत value निकल जाता है and so like network का equivalent is Moengage for example and it's a great example यार I will take this model मेरा dashboard typical email open rate like 17-18%, right? Email is a great market. So we're using Moengage, which is let's say you like something like on mentorships, I'll show you something on mentorships, conversation will go. I think this impulse buying, it is more relevant thing to be given. Right? Like he would like to show a baker likes that क्या था वो conscious indulgence, right? जो थोड़ा सा वो dessert बनाना चाहता है, with a little less fat. Right? He would love to give a one-on-one hand to that person, right? Take data से हो जाता है. I think this is very sustainable, like because I'm not wasting ad monies on so many. Think about it. Overwhelming. So,
Any other questions? I need to ask something. Then do we have any other questions? Nilesh.
Greetings, my name is Nilesh. My question is related to marketing only. So there's consumer-centric marketing, and companies also have this internal marketing to its employees, where they inform their employees about the products. So my question is to you is how importance does internal marketing holds for a company?
Yeah, everyone. There is a book called Employees First. Read that. Vineet Nair. will know the importance of internal marketing. Yes. You already answered this question previously. None of your plans are going to be successful if you have not internally marketed your idea. It's extremely important. But there is nothing called there is consumer centric marketing and something else. There is marketing is consumer centric. Even internal customers are also customers, right? Unfortunately, what happens is, as Alekhya was saying, we are all believe that marketing is all those fields of making the ad and communication, etc. Marketing is far beyond that.
So HR is marketing. Digital marketing. Ma'am,
Communication is a very important part of marketing within the organization. That there are dedicated teams and employee engagement is very important, and marketing for employees is also important. But yes, customer is the case. I mean, it's important that your employees are aligned to your values, what you're doing, why you're doing. A lot of leadership communication happens to employees from the same source that are well, all this chances that your employees are in alignment with what you're doing outside the market. I hope this answers.
Yes. I think I have nice sense what you just asked. Like just yesterday in a internal meeting town hall, I just posed this rhetorical question to all our cross functional team that हम सबके लिए hackathon कराते हैं. So हम खुद के hackathon हम अपने platform यूज करके क्यों नहीं करते for the next product feature and as good in your market. And as immediately because it's so user friendly as a website by evening, product team had launched an internal hackathon internal only to be known by internal folks. Things hopefully out of the hackathon will come up feature that you guys will see in the next month or two, right? So it's internal marketing at its best. And when I was working on now, a very senior person sitting on a cloud told me something which just stayed with me till today. I cannot sell this bar of soap and I can sell this to the 3 daughters that I have. So whatever product you or service you're going to sell, you better be in a position to have conviction कि मैं खुद के blood relation या फ्यूचर को बेच सकता हूँ. Before I go out and shout for rooftops.
Walt Disney, before he created those movies or for kids, he would actually take a show the story or tell the story to his daughters. And if they liked it, that's when it went on to the next stage. So these are very important times, that we need from the stakeholders inside the company, their employees.
Thank you.
yeah, last question.
Hands are raised.
Okay, those last 2 questions. Yeah.
Suppose I have a product that is not very sustainable and I have an alternative that is sustainable, but the quality is compromised. So how do I market that?
Not understood.
Suppose I have a product that is not sustainable.
Poor product, poor quality product, but sustainable. है ना?
But there's an alternative that is sustainable, but the quality is compromised a bit. So how do I market that product?
Like you're talking about, let's say the paper straws, which are so difficult to sell, right? That's so up to you. So I think you have to again that's responsible marketing. It's not like making an ad saying I have made a paper straw. It's about figuring out it's a mind. I don't know, like so that how do you become a journey with mind that I think है थोड़ा सा दिक्कत है, but like let's take this step together, right? So that's why probably a brand becomes a end of a journey with its control. Like it's more closure conversation. I think that's the marketing organization solves for a case like this. In case the solution is like this, which is a proper sustainable solution.
Do you mean by when you say inferior quality, mean by it is degraded experience like this of people?
Yes, exactly.
Degraded. But others is fit for the consumption. So then this is the situation. But
paper is true, you cut trees, so it's not going to be eco-friendly.
It will finally depend on this interesting consumer mindset. Are you, if your mindset is that I am more conscious, I am choosing consciously for sustainable products, then I must be willing to put up with some of the negatives. So we could be negative in terms of Nilesh, right? You never. Let's say there's a higher cost because, for example, organic farming is more expensive, right? So there will be higher cost or a degraded experience. So it's a choice that the consumer makes for the future or for his own value of being consuming his consumption being more sustainable. That's the way I see it.
Question is difficult because he's asking from the brand's perspective. Which I think maybe a research you can do how which for which product you're having enough consumers that you can balance out which path you want to take. Because as an organization you can decide this is the product I choose to sell. You might not always be in a position to go completely sustainable.
Plus, you can also launch an idea for that, explore related ideas. If you are not able to fund the solution, and you have the platform, you can do it on, I'm not saying. Yeah, the last question.
Good evening, sir. I'm Kunal Agarwal from the batch of 25. My question is a bit related to technology. So, one of the previous sessions, we were talking about how we are moving from technology on sustainability towards sustainable technologies. So, do you think there are cost-related effects which can have on marketing? How can we manage those? It's not related to greenwashing per se. And for example, sir was talking about Unstopped. It's a completely digital platform. Whereas if I'm doing marketing for Weikfield, it's not exactly digital. We are still transforming towards it. So how can we move towards it? And how can we reduce the costs there?
So there are, the sustainable technologies which you're talking about, there are examples of that. I'm not going to talk in very many details, but when organizations move from hardcore data centers to cloud, it is that they're moving sustainable, right? And then if they could any other technologies that can, be more sustainable, that can reduce the physical presence or physical, elements which are not really good for the planet. So from that aspect, there are sustainable technologies that are evolving and coming up. Whether they can be viable or if they can be viable as of today or at which stage in future, that is the question. But there are options coming up slowly, and I think the path is already on.
That will respond. This is a pure economics. How many engineers here? सोलर पैनल खोल के कायदे होता है इतना I did my engineering in 2000 in the year 2000 per megawatt is to cost something close to 12 crore. The idea about 3 years back something happened. Do you guys have any idea? The price crashed. It was around 3 lakhs. What happened?
Mass production.
The supply went up, right? So cost is a pure economics. Cost is function of supply. If there are more demands for the sustainable product, there will be more supplies. The cost will come down. So one of the reasons today the costs of the sustainable products are higher because supply is limited because the demand is limited. It's just simple economics of demand. There's nothing else.
So can we sum up in 3 sentences? Sustainability in. Okay.
Everyone's responsible.
Absolutely. I don't know whether you pursue professional careers in marketing, but each one of you, till we live, are going to be consumers, right? So please practice mindful, conscious consumption. That's one. 2, also advocate and market products as consumers. Because consumers are the new marketing departments. Market products and promote products, put good of word of mouth about products and services which are sustainable. Okay. 3, when you are into marketing, then create products
and try sustainable pricing because somebody raised a question about why these products are pretty costly. The simple reason is that they are few triggers. And two, psychographically, marketers analyze that they can pay a premium. So when people who are looking for purpose brands, you would like to extract value for the company too. So nothing wrong in that. But everything, all aspects of marketing, distribution, promotion, communication, digital marketing is more about communication. So all that has to be sustainable. Always, including NPD, new product development. So when you work on new product development, then try and use ingredients which are sustainable, which replenish the nature back, and we can't be thieves. Bhagavad Gita somewhere says that who is a chore? Chore is not somebody who takes something from somebody. A real chore is who takes much more than what gives back to the system, to the ecosystem. Istan Bhogani Deva Dashanti Yagya Bhavita Ter Dattan Dayabyo You Stay Able say. Real chore wo hai jo leta jata hai. So basically whether you are into corporate, manufacturing, business, marketing, whatever, or as a consumer, we have to act and behave responsibly. Okay. And sustainability doesn't only mean environmental friendly, but also means human rights, justice, fairness, equality, inclusiveness, all kinds of all those things. So we'll practice that. You owe it to the world. You are all eagles. And you have the future. And ours, whatever that we did, we are still struggling and trying to do make the world the best place, better place. But the whole world is in front of you. So you own it more, and you basically will have to take the lead. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for the three illustrious speakers today and for and give thanks and cheers to you too because you are excellent listeners. Good questions. Thank you so much.
Bimalendu is not a pride, is the moderator, which offers for students and share insights on charitable sustainable pathways and marketing in the digital economy. Today, we learned Indian startups and corporates leverage the sustainability and we gain an understanding about companies really using sustainability as a marketing gimmick and importance of educating consumer and how leading tech companies are following sustainable pathways. I'm sure each of us is taking something back from today to help us in becoming good marketers in absolute world. I would like to thank all our families for taking the valuable time and sharing insights of the vast experiences. On behalf of the team, we would like to thank and present a token of appreciation to the officers. And this audio present a token of appreciation to Ms. Tiwari. Audio to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Alekhya Chakrabarty. First, to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Bimalendu Tarafdar. Thank you.